Radio traffic update.
Hello, my name is Pastor Derek Lane, and I live and pastor here in the Othello community. I'm vaccinated because I know how illness can hurt the community. As a grandfather, I am boosted to help protect my 3.5-year-old granddaughter who can't be. I don't want to see members of my community die needlessly. And as a pastor, I've had funerals for those who caught COVID, but none from taking the vaccine. If you have questions, need resources, or want to make an appointment, visit kingcounty.gov/vaccine.
This is Big Poppy, host of Jazz from the Cabinets. Join me each week for a listening tour of the first century of jazz, an eclectic mix of Dixieland, big band, cool jazz, bebop, contemporary jazz, world jazz, all jazz in all forms. That's Jazz from the Cabinets with Big Poppy on Rainier Avenue Radio, streaming worldwide on RainierAvenueRadio.world.
This is Mondo Bancaro from Mondo's World. We will be discussing some interesting subjects. Sometimes I might even have some guests. So please listen to my show on Rainier Avenue Radio.
Generational wealth. Generational wealth. Generational wealth. What is generational wealth? We asked our communities, and this is what they had to say.
For me, generational wealth is passed down knowledge from relatives or any family members, or even like any ancestral people that have come before you, that is, used to help you progress in the times that you're living in. So I think it is very updated, it's very current, it is existing in real time. So any type of knowledge or resources from people who are here living now, being able to provide that information and pass it down from generation to generation, how you maintain the wealth. That's what it means to me.
This campaign to create awareness to generational wealth is brought to you by the Department of Neighborhood's Generational Wealth Initiative, the Washington Housing Finance Commission, and Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Create your generational wealth for you and the future of your families.
Rainier Avenue Radio, your community radio station will provide you with more information. Rainier Avenue Radio. Every time you play so smooth, makes me wanna groove. The trees let's groove.
Welcome. It's Friday afternoon. It's a little bit of liquid sunshine, but we can handle that because we're Seattle. This is Brenda Charles Edwards. I'm the host of Seniors Matter. We're live every Friday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Rainier Avenue Radio.world, your community radio station. You can also listen to us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch TV, Twitter, and of course, on the Rainier Avenue Radio app. We feature interviews with people that provide services or have valuable information for seniors, their families, and the community. Do you need financial documents notarized? Are you a senior that needs documents read to you for clarity or completion? Call me, Brenda, at Black Orchid Notary, 206-683-2636. Tell me where, I'll meet you there. Today, my guest is John Yasutake. He's the host of Seattle Here and Now on Rainier Avenue Radio.world on Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. Welcome to the show, John. How are you?
Hello. I'm here, and here's my Seattle Martin Luther King Jr. Organizing Coalition. And I appreciate you bringing me on the show because we can talk about what's coming up next week. There's a number of events going on leading up to Monday, the 16th.
John, before you go into all of that, I want to give my audience a little history.
Sure enough.
Okay. So it took nearly 2 decades to pass legislation for a national holiday in honor of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. His was the first new holiday since 1948. Dr. King is the only American, besides President George Washington, to have a national holiday designated on his birthday. Citizens and organizations, especially the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, lobbied for 15 years and collected more than 6 million signatures to make this happen. Local efforts in the Pacific Northwest were steadfast, and met with considerable resistance. California was the first state to honor Dr. King's birthday. Isn't that amazing?
Yep, it is. When you consider the history, you consider what he was able to accomplish in his short lifetime, tragically, being murdered, and getting the bill signed, the 1964 Civil Rights Act, which is one of the most sweeping pieces of legislation of any kind, whether it's civil rights or whatever this nation has seen. And he was able to create a situation where, dyed in the wool Republicans signed on to that bill.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
As opposed to the knuckleheads that are out there today that call themselves Republicans. You had some true statespersons as Republicans and Democrats. And it took a coalition, it took a compromise, it took him working both sides, and it was signed by, President Johnson, because by that time, John F. Kennedy, who was also a part of this history, was assassinated. But anyways, that's it. But tragically, again, the short life of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, honored by a Nobel Peace Prize, having a holiday named for him. Here in Seattle, I feel very fortunate to be one of the, I'm trying to remember all the people, but I was called to come to a meeting up at Camp Firehouse in 1983. And in that meeting was Jerry Ware, Eddie Ride, Tony Orange, Larry Gossett, of course, and Bob Barnes, a number of people. There were about, I think, a dozen of us, or a little bit more. And that was the beginning of the MLK, what we called it the celebration, which actually, when I look back at the history, and we found out that we are, I believe, the oldest west of the Mississippi of its kind, the committee. Now we have reformed, it has been reformed to become the MLK Planning Coalition, because there's a number of different organizations involved, not just, your traditional historic African American
Right.
affiliated organizations, but a broad spectrum. Because when you see the march, and you've been there, you've been part of it, you look across that spectrum, it's everybody, and people say, "Well, but that's what I believe. We believe Dr. King envisioned a world where everybody would come together."
Absolutely.
And so we've got 40 years of history. This is the 40th year. We staged it at Garfield. When I worked for the school district, we were involved in having the rally at the gym, and all the workshops, and this is continued. These are great workshops. There's, like I said, just a plethora of things, and I've got some information for people. But leading up to the event of the 16th, which is Monday, and of course, Rainier Avenue Radio .world will be there covering this event live.
Yes.
So we'll be on the ground. I'll be doing interviews. I've already asked Eddie if I can grab him and get an interview with him, because I was with him last night. But 40 years. We've got a youth event that comes up on Sunday the 15th, and it goes from 2 to 4 p.m. And then we have an opportunity fair, which is also virtual, but it's resume review. It's not virtual. It's there at the Garfield complex. King County Labor, John Birchie, these great folks have been able to bring in, and there are going to be a number of businesses there. There's going to be the job fair, a resume review. It'll be at Garfield High School. It'll start at 8:30 and go till 11:30, right before the rally. So Sundays, January 15th, the youth event, 2 to 4. Monday, the 16th, the job fair, 8:30 to 11:30 at Garfield. Then there'll be various workshops. And
hey, John, before you go on, do you know who will be there at the job fair?
Oh God, I mean, we've seen Boeing, we've seen all the major corporations,
So Amazon.
yeah, exactly. Public agencies, firefighters, people like that. And so it's great opportunity. We know that there's been a lot of interest in that. And because, again, one of the things that Dr. King stood for was equal opportunity, but equal access and jobs.
Yes, definitely.
He was involved in on that dispute, the labor dispute, and it was involving jobs and
Yes.
livable wages and things like that. So, and it was, like I said, just a, I don't know, the measure of his greatness is, it's untold. I mean,
Very much so.
so much impact on our lives. And
So continue.
yeah, and then so January 10th, there's to the 14th, there's virtual. You got to go online and there's pre-registration required, and I'll give you that information in a minute. Then on the 16th, it'll be in person at the workshops, 9:30 to 10:50 at Garfield High School. And there's like I say, I love that term. There'll be a plethora of workshops, a number of workshops.
Yes.
I participated in a couple. How to respond to when you're being stopped by the police. The Department of Justice has had a workshop there, and different organizations have had workshops. State agencies, city agencies, etc., have had various workshops there. One workshop I recall, and I was part of it, was Minority Women Business Enterprise before I-200 came. Now we're back. We brought back opportunities under affirmative action by the governor's executive order. So we're back in the business of promoting women minority business, that kind of thing. So as well as school enrollment, college, university level, and employment, public employment. So anyways, there's a number of workshops. So if you are interested, there's a couple of things. Go to the site www.seattlemlkcoalition.org. There'll be a bunch of information there. And then for the other part of it is for the email is mlkseattle@gmail.com. So again,
Can you say that again, John?
Yeah, www.seattlemlkcoalition.org for the general site, information about the workshops and registration. Then there's an email address where you can send and request information, mlkseattle@gmail.com. And there's a phone number attached to this area because it's 206-472-2712. Again, 206-472-2712. And the reason for this is the contact points on the Gmail and the phone number is also to be a contact point for people who need an accommodation, individuals with disabilities, etc. Because we want, again, the whole concept, Dr. King, embrace everyone. Everyone's part of this. And so, yeah, that is a special number, but the general email site is mlkseattle@gmail.com, 206-472-2712. When you go to the site, you'll see it. It'll be towards the bottom page. For information, please see the website for accommodation details. So we want to include everybody. We don't want to leave anybody out. And that's for individuals who need mobility assistance, etc. Visual assistance. There'll be sign language interpreters for all the rally and everything. So now, the main site, www.seattlemlkcoalition.org. And you'll get a nice little kind of thing, graphic thing like this. I'll show it to you if I can get it. Something like this you'll see on the screen. And it'll give a rundown of the events. And then the big thing is the rally at 12:30 at Garfield in person. We'll be covering it, Rainier Avenue Radio.
John, how long is the rally and the march?
Well, the rally starts at 12:30. Generally about 1:30 or so, they head out. And the march and they always keep it a secret.
But the route?
Yep. For security reasons, because
sure.
a few years ago, in Spokane, they let everybody know the route of the march, and they found a bomb.
Ooh.
There was actually a bomb, I guess you could say an anti-personnel device, an explosive device. And so,
Mhm.
but for the purposes of security, the Seattle Police Department knows.
Right,
And
of
again,
course.
when I was with DOJ, we're called observers, and we do we call it assisting on marshaling and how to keep people moving, and no, rules of the road. Once you get moving, you don't stop. Once you get
So,
moving, nobody can break in the middle. They have to go to the end of the line. That kind of
um,
stuff. Yeah.
so then the march ends back at Garfield. So
Now,
do you know, in years past, approximately how long does that take?
it's about 3 hours or so. I mean, a little, you're in the afternoon. You're in the later afternoon, so or middle afternoon. But like I said, I didn't have the details of the march, and they're going to bring it up at the rally, of course. And so that's one of the selling points. You want to know about the march? You want to be part of it? You got to come to the rally, because then you'll get to know where they go.
Right.
Where
If you're
we go.
just tuning in, you're listening live to Seniors Matter with your host, Brenda Charles Edwards, on Rainier Avenue Radio World, your community radio station. We're here every Friday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Do you know what's the best legacy you can give yourself and leave to your loved ones? Join me on Zoom for a group or individual session on legacy end of life planning. You can reach me at 206-683-2636. Now back to my guest, John Yasutake, host of Seattle Here and Now.
Mhm.
Continue, my friend.
Okay, there's a little thing that I wanted to read before we wrap this up, but it goes like this. This is coming off directly from the MLK Coalition site. There has been over 400 years of oppression of Black, Indigenous, and people of color, which includes human trafficking, enslavement, genocide, torture, disenfranchisement, segregation, imprisonment, dispossession of land, and so much more. And yet none of this has ever broken the spirit of our people to achieve justice and equity. And equity is important. Equity means fairness. 2023 marks 40 years that the residents of Seattle and King County have had and continue to honor the legacy and the mission of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. with a rally, march, internships, workshops, youth-led programming, and job fair. The first 40 years were but the beginning. Seattle's annual MLK celebration aims to inspire this and future generations to live up to Dr. King's dream of achieving the beloved community. This year, we are coming together on the anniversary of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday, honoring the past and the countless champions who came before us, stood alongside, and have continued after King was taken from us, fighting for both our present and our future, because an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. That's beautiful stuff.
It
And
is.
I think that says it all.
Mhm.
Like I said, we small beginning. We're in the one little room at the campfire house, and look what's going on. This is one of the biggest marches and rallies in the country, recognized nationally. They always cover us nationally. And I was at Atlanta during the rally, and I looked at it and I said, "Gee, this is great, but this is the home of Dr. King." But I says we do very well. Seattle, I said, "Hey, my counterparts in Seattle do a great job too." Oh yeah, we know about Seattle. Hey, because like I said, Dr. King did come, and Reverend Dr. Samuel Barry McKinney was a friend and a colleague.
November 10th, 1961 is when he
Yeah,
came.
exactly. And again, our connection was Reverend McKinney to Dr. King. So, anyways, everybody listening, everybody watching, come on down. We'll be there. I'll be there too. Rainier Avenue. I'm on the coalition, on the periphery of the coalition, but we want to be mindful of the fact that it's open to everybody. Come on down.
So the coverage starts, I believe, at 11 o'clock.
Yeah,
Is that right?
I believe for
By
us.
Rainier Avenue Radio.
Yeah, Rainier Avenue Radio. But everything starts at 8:30, and people are getting there like at 6 and 7.
Well, you have to because there's no
Yeah.
parking
Right,
would
yeah.
be limited. Let's put it
Yeah,
that
right.
way.
And then people coming up to set up and that kind of thing too. So
Right.
there'll
Do you
be
know what type of
displays.
vendors? Food? Is there food?
Yeah, there'll be. I believe. Well, it'll be outside, I believe, because Starbucks always comes. I know they have come in the past, but they closed down the 23rd Avenue
I saw
Starbucks,
that.
and they were the
Yes.
ones who the provisioners to provide beverages. But hopefully they'll be there. I know they'll be there in the uh, job fair, I believe. Yeah, they're one of the participants. So
They
anyway,
also unfortunately closed the one on across from Franklin too.
yes, I know they
That
closed
was
that
very
one.
sad.
Well, then they closed the one on Edmonds. My
They
hank.
did?
The Edmonds, Edmonds and
Oh, yes,
Rainier
yes, in Columbia City.
in Columbia
Yes,
City.
yes. That was
Which reminds me, ladies and gentlemen, we will have a show coming up. Back again. What's cooking in Columbia City with your host, John Yasutake, and your up and coming co host, Brenda Charles Edwards.
Oh, I didn't know we were coming back on. When are we coming back on?
Whenever we get the schedule revised, because this is basketball season, we'll probably be doing, since our Tuesday, excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, this is inside stuff, but What's Cooking in Columbia City comes on live on Tuesdays, 9:30 p.m. Pacific time. But because we are bumping up against high school basketball on Tuesdays, we're going to have to work something out. We may not be able to do it every Tuesday, and I don't think we're covering every basketball game on Tuesday. But they Metro League changed the schedule. There used to be only afternoon games on Tuesdays. Now it's in the evening.
Right.
For security purposes and things like that. So, that's
Well,
it.
I already have our next guest lined up whenever we are back. So just give me a heads up.
What's cooking? But no, thank you. And again, everybody, I encourage everybody out there to try to attend. If you don't march, at least come to the rally or come to the workshops. There'll be a lot of information. There'll be a number of vendors, like I said, the job fair. Please, if you're looking for a job, come on down.
They
Bring your
definitely
resume.
need to attend the job fair.
Yep. Bring your resume. They'll work with you on that. And like I said, this is one of the premier events for the community, bringing all aspects of the community together. And so I think it's a great, great, great time. And like I said, it's uplifting to see so many people marching and having the same mindset for equity and civil rights and social justice, race and social justice, etc. Now they're on the horizon. We've got a number of issues: police community relations, still economic, recovery, etc. We've got the issue of reparations for African Americans, which is a viable discussion piece. So it's
Hey, John, I just want to throw out something. We've been talking about all these events, but I just want to throw out that there's 7 ways also that you can honor Dr. King's legacy. You can listen to his most famous speech, I Have a Dream, or any of his other speeches. You can read the letter from Birmingham jail, one of his famous letters.
Right.
You can diversify your reading list. Read more Black authors. Toni Morrison was the first African-American woman novelist, professor to win a Nobel Prize. She wrote many novels such as The Bluest Eye, Song of Solomon, and Beloved. Also, be an ally. Ask, listen, show up, and speak up for one another. This doesn't necessarily mean you agree on every single issue, but it does mean that you support others and use their platform for change. Support nonprofits that advance equal rights. National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, is another one that you can also support, as well as the Urban League. Practice inclusive marketing and hiring if you're a business. As you know, media and advertising have the power to shape and influence the world around us. Companies that have the power to use their platforms for social change and create content that reflects and empowers communities of color. And the most important one is volunteer. To make an impact for Martin Luther King Jr. Day, consider volunteering at any local nonprofit organization, and that includes the rally.
Thank you. Very good. So, all of you out there, we'll see you at Garfield bright and early at 8:30 or so. But if you don't make it there, come on down for the rally, which will be at the gym Garfield High School gym, and then that'll be the staging ground for the march. So, and that'll be at around 12:30 or so.
Hey, John, do you know by any chance in the past how many people have attended the rally and march?
Gosh, it's been numbers that go 10, 15, 20,000, something like that. One number I heard from one year, it was over 25, maybe 30,000.
Well, that's a lot of folks. And I would say make sure you bring, or excuse me, not necessarily bring, but wear your walking shoes.
Yes.
Because you're going to get that exercise that you said you were going to do in 2023. Now you have that opportunity to start that walking program.
Right.
Oh,
right.
This has just been, there's just so much going on, and it's a wonderful opportunity to give back. And also, just throwing this out, for those of you that have students that go to school, there is no school on Monday. So they have no real reason not to attend the rally and check out some of these, especially the juniors and seniors, about getting their resume together and just being ready. Make 2023 your time to be ready.
That's very good. I also want to mention, if you can't attend, but you want to support financially, you can make a donation. Go to the site. And I've given you that site. It's www.seattlemlkcoalition.org. It'll talk to you about how to do a donation. But if you have a real question about a donation and want to make one, mlkseattle@gmail.com.
All right. This is Brenda Charles Edwards, host of Seniors Matter. How you can listen to us live every Friday at 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on www.rainieravenueradio.world. We're your community radio station, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch TV, Twitter, and of course on our Rainier Avenue Radio app. Thank you to my listening audience. Thank you to you, John, for coming on and giving us this wonderful plethora of information. And I want to thank singer Patrice Isley. Have a great weekend. Be safe. Go Seahawks and live your life like it's golden. See you later. Bye, John.